Hey there, Gavin here with the Blissfully show. And this is a new format I'm going to be doing today. The first kind of video I'm doing like this is about shifting from lack to abundance. And here's the thing, you already know what it feels like to struggle. You know what it feels like to fall short. But do you know what it feels like to have what you want already? All the manifestations, all the creations, all the things you want in life, do you know what that feels like? And if not, it's crucial that you do so you can allow those things into your experience. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I have been doing Blissfully just recently. I've decided that instead of doing YouTube videos like everybody else, which is just not going to be that much different, right? But I want to make it more transparent. I want to make it very little editing. I'll take out some little, possible mistakes and some gaps, yet I really want to capture and share as we all go on this journey together and not make it like this perfect thing. And quite frankly, one of my big hangups is perfectionism, is needing it to look perfect. And trying to measure up to these other YouTube channels. Oh, I want to give value. Oh, I want subscribers. Oh, I want to, be of service to people. And so I have all these ideas and these stories of how it has to look. And then I never get very far. So one of the things I'm going to be doing to overcome that, and this would tie into what we're talking about having to do with lack and abundance today, is kind of letting go of these expectations of how it's supposed to look. I was watching this video last night. This called The Outdoor Boys, and it's this guy named Luke. He's got 13 million subscribers, and he has stayed true to himself. He doesn't do all these extra things. It's literally for his fans, and they really can relate to him. And I'd love to build a channel based on business concepts. This is also applying universal truths, spirituality to business. I feel like for so long, I had a lot of success. I had a lot of failures. I'll be sharing those stories. Yet I always felt like I kept the two worlds apart. I had spirituality over here, business over here. I did all the traditional things business-wise, didn't bring, that much satisfaction, fulfillment, purpose, happiness. And when I do spiritual things, it's all is well. Yet, how do you bridge those things together? How do you apply these universal truths to your business? And that's what this channel is all about. And I'll be helping you incorporate who you are, your passions, your purpose, your talents, your gifts. And you will see that is going to tie in a lot with your vibration, with your frequency. And things will just get easier because you're aligning with who you are and your truth and kind of what you came here to do, rather than pushing and pulling and being attached to a look at a certain way. And I've struggled with all this, so I get to do this with you. So on this video today, again, we really want to focus on, I'm going to give stories about having to do with business, but going from lack. And gosh, there's people who would be considered multimillionaires who feel lack. And then there's people who have no money to their name would feel lack. But then how do you go from that to abundance? What does that look like? And I want to dive into that today. And one of the things I'm going to do just to make sure that I stay on track, because I have a little PowerPoint here that I'm going to be going through. And that way I can make sure that I'm clear on the things I want to go through. Just, again, the full transparency, right? So, do you know what it feels like to actually have it, to be successful, to be free, to experience the abundance you say you want? Most people don't. And that's exactly why they're stuck. That's kind of, where they're at. And why most people stay in lack is, and this is the mistake, is they wait for proof before they believe in success. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the YouTube video is, there's all these people, I'm not going to name names that I follow, and they always talk about what they did to get to success. And then they, it's kind of that kind of puts out there that, I guess before I can make those videos, and I'm going to have 1 million followers, and I'm going to have to make $1 million in a year, and I'm going to have all these accolades. And that's not true. That's a story. I have so much information to give you all. I've been successful in so many ways. And there are so many areas of growth that I have to do just like you. I'm no different. I'm not on this high horse of like, look at me, right? I have a wonderful house. I have a wonderful, wife and marriage and family. Yet I have fallen short on what I feel like my purpose and what I came in this life to do, and am on the same path as everyone else. So the problem is that mistake is that people are waiting for evidence. Okay. So, they say, once I see the money, I'll feel abundance. Once my business grows, I'll feel successful. Once my clients show up, then I'll feel worthy, right? So it's always this conditionality of if, then, someday, right? And then they're always separate for it. They're never congruent with it. They're never aligned with it. Huge problem. And backwards thinking. So they think, oh, the universe doesn't, work that way. Reality doesn't work that way. Quantum physics doesn't work that way. Like they think that, they have to actually have things be a certain way before they're going to see those things. And they don't realize that's blocking it. That's the problem. That's the mistake. Okay. So let's take a quick look on quantum physics. And there's so many, the split, basically the observer, what's exactly the observer effect, but there's a split test done. And essentially, without going into great detail, most of you have probably heard of this, is what scientists realize is at a subatomic particle level that when those were observed, they behave differently. Translation is that reality changes based on the expectations of the observer. Just you seeing it, just you witnessing it. It's kind of like what you kind of expect to happen happens. Now, if you can understand the gravity of that like what you expect to happen has a huge role on then what does happen. It alters it to some degree. I mean, think about that. If you were able to change your thinking, change your expectations, expectation wouldn't be quite the word, but what you could see, what you could feel, what you could believe to be true, then your reality will alter. And when you can really understand this, a lot of people fall short. I have fallen short is like, okay, like they think, oh, I can do it for, 17 seconds. Yet it becomes this becoming more and more and more. You think that way, you feel that way, you are that way. You become that person who has that expectation, that belief, that understanding of what is going to transpire. Okay. And quite frankly, all the things you're thinking, doing are the belief in action. It's the action of allowing that to happen. The observation in effect, if that makes sense to you. You're the observer. You're controlling this whole world. Okay. Now that is wonderful news and it's terrible news. It's terrible news for the people who feel like I don't have any, role in this. Everything's happening to me and I don't have to take any responsibility. That's bad news for those people because then it's kind of like, wait a sec, I'm the cause and this world is the effect because of my thinking and how I'm observing it. Absolutely. That's bad news. For those people who are like, oh, what am I missing? This is great news because yes, if you change your mind, if you change your actions, if you change your vibration, your frequency, and how you see the world, how you see yourself and who you really are, then the reality of that has no choice but to follow suit, to come in alignment with that. That's amazing news. And most people, again, if you're watching this, you know that. But like, how does that happen? That gap is what stops most people. That gap has been extremely frustrating for me. I've seen the fruits of that. I've had a lot of really cool successes, realities that I wanted, and I felt like a major gap in, quite frankly, I'm 50, and I thought at this point I would have more money in the bank. I thought I would be more successful. I thought I would, be in a different situation. And here I am, and it is what it is. So I've had to take a look at how I'm thinking. I've had to take a look at, my quote results. And in one area, in most areas of people's life, they have something they're like, hey, I'm really good over here. And then there's these huge blocks over here. There's these huge voids, okay? And for me, it has to do with my career. I'm really good at sales. I've been doing sales for a long time. I've learned how to apply my purpose within sales and be really good at it. Yet I do feel like I kind of have a higher calling, a higher purpose. But I have all these excuses. I have these observations of the story that perpetually happens. How is that for you? Maybe comment below. What does it look like that you keep repeating? What's your cycle? I kind of stay in the cycle of sales. It's comfortable. I make pretty good money. And I'm good at it. Something like this, when do I have time for YouTube? Is anybody going to, care about this angle with spirituality? Is it going to go anywhere? And, there's doubts. I've tried things before. It hasn't worked. And my number one thing that I really want to break through this time, and hopefully you can relate to this, is I'm not consistent and I don't stick with it. So I'm kind of counting this as video number one, that you would come back and watch the Blissfully show. I have other videos, of course, on here, but I want to really be regular, like on a week. And I share this of like, same thing with like you. If you can become aware of your blocks, and if you can see what your patterns are, then you can become aware of the observation, the story, just like what I was talking about, how quantum physics works. And then you can make changes. This is part of me making a change, doing videos this way. So let's look at how to rewire your mind. All right. Step one, create the feeling before the reality appears. So yes, you're going to have to kind of lock into a feeling that you may not have experienced before because you haven't done that before. But you've done other things. You know what it feels like to feel amazing, to feel like you've accomplished something, to feel that anything is possible. You've had those moments. And it's really important that you get in alignment with that being a normal thing, that you don't need the event to happen to have the feeling of that, okay? And when you get really good at that without the event and still the feeling, the event's going to happen more and more, and the gap in between is going to close, okay? So here's the thing. Your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So you close your eyes and you feel success. You see it. You feel the abundance. It triggers the same neural pathways as if it were real. So all of that, even though it's you haven't experienced right now, but thinking about it, you can have those same exact feelings. And quite frankly, there is no difference, right? Except in our mind. And that's kind of what we're doing is we're not tricking our mind, we're training our mind for truth of what reality really is. And that therefore, with what we see out there is a reflection of what we feel in here. And the more you can, have that feeling in here, the more you will see it out there. Hopefully that makes sense. And this is why athletes visualize, everything before they compete. They see it done. They feel what it's like to win. They know it's in the process of happening, and then they prepare for that. Step two, practice the frequency of receiving, okay? So most people know how to hustle and they work hard, but they have no practice in the energy of receiving. So ask yourself, if I was really successful, how would I feel? How would I walk? How would I speak? Who would I, be? Would I hesitate? Would I be certain? Would I be anxious? Would I be relaxed? You must embody that now. I mean, really see and have a visual, understanding of what that looks like for that person that you want to become. You want to be a business owner that, has 50 employees and it's $10 million a year and you make 1.5 million net, whatever it looks like. What would that person look like? Okay. And how would that person operate? What kind of confidence? What kind of frequency? And you've got to feel that. And that's the receiving of that frequency. You're in the process of developing that muscle of feeling before it actually materializes. And again, most people get stuck is they want it to materialize and then they can feel it. And that's not what happens. All these people, the Elon Musk of the world, you can name anybody, like they so believed that they felt it. And it was law that was going to happen. And every successful person that you could ever think of in any great thing, they saw it before it happened. They felt it before it happened. I know there's a lot of topics out there, but if you really realize this, and start applying it. It's a game changer, right? Number 3, you've got to learn how to make abundance your new normal. You've got to think abundantly. Like, how do abundant people think? Right now, to some degree, lack is your default setting. And I don't care, how abundant or how lackful you feel you are. You could be way more abundant than you are. If you're watching this video at this point, you're probably nowhere near what's possible for you. You got to expect it. You got to believe in it. And that's why it's going to keep showing up. If you just know I am abundance, abundance happens to me all the time, happens to me in my life, in my relationships, in my business, then you're going to start seeing these really cool, miraculous things happen. And you have to make abundance feel more real than your current circumstances. So if your current circumstances feel like, oh, look at my bank account or that, like you have to know, like, oh my gosh, so much money, so much abundance. And it doesn't have to be just money. It can be, complete joy and friendships and experiences. All those things play a role with this. And, eventually, it could be very quick, it could be some time, but the universe has no choice but to match that. And everything that is in your world right now is a vibrational match to what you're putting out there. So if you want to be, have other things come into your life, you have to allow the frequency of that to be your new normal. All right. So real world example. So let's talk about an entrepreneur. Okay. So one would be, used to work with an entrepreneur client, and they would say, hey, I can't find clients. No one's buying, I don't know what's wrong. And he was stuck in lack. And he would just focus on that over and over. And I've been here before. Gosh, I could be talking about myself just hearing that. And every action he took came from that. Like, it's not working. It's not enough. Even all the things that were happening, that were abundant, that other people would be like, wow, that was pretty good. He was like, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And so the universe started reflecting that more. Like, okay, I thought that was pretty good. And then after, that's the before. That's the stuck in lack. But after, once he started getting into the abundance, and once he started seeing his patterns, and once he started allowing himself to open up to more possibilities within weeks, he started attracting opportunities, not because he changed a strategy of anything out there. And this is huge, is what this channel is all about, but because he changed his frequency. He operated from a different level. That made the difference. You are probably like me looking for all the greatest YouTube, thumbnail strategy, or your, social marketing and social media. And there's always all this advice. Okay. But that frequency of what you're putting out there trumps all of those things, is bigger than all of those things. Just be you. That natural transparency of you and your truth, and putting that out there at a higher, that's going to attract the audience that you want. And that's the shift. The moment that clients stop focusing on, I don't have, and instead shifting it into, clients love working with me, my offers are valuable, and my business is thriving, like that mindset shifted, then allowed all those things to come. That was the frequency he was now operating at. Okay. And here's the thing. You are the creator of your experience. We all are, right? And again, that's great news and not so great news for other, people, but you're the creator, and you're not waiting for abundance to show up. You are the one calling it in or keeping it away. It's you, okay? Your reality is simply mirroring you. Everything you see out there is what you believe to be true about life, about yourself. You are life. You are everything out there. It's the coolest, I'm a Course in Miracles student. When you really grasp that, like, everything becomes a possibility. If everything is of your creation, wouldn't you treat every creation as if it was your creation, and so loving and so joyful? Like, wow, even that over there, I don't really, that person wasn't very nice, or I didn't like this experience as far as pleasantness, but you created that, and like to embrace it. And when you do that, when you know that, you become very, very aware, very specific about what you think about and how you treat other people, because it's all a mirror. So I'm going to ask you, here's the decision. Will you keep waiting for proof before you believe in success? Or will you decide right now that success is already yours. That what you want, those goals, that, that business, that creation, that product, those clients, are they already yours? Can you already see it? Can you already feel it? Do you already know it's happened? And then you get to be a part of the process to allow it. That's what we're here for. Yes, boom, it could be like that within seconds and minutes, and all these things start happening. But a lot of the joy is that you get to become into that, okay? And that, there's like this, which is not true, it's an illusion, but like this time period that feel like it has to go by. It has happened already. If you align with that, it's done. But you get to go through the process. You get to go through the experience of that. And that's so much of the joy. If everything came true right in that second, which again is possible, but if it did, it'd get a little boring after a while. It'd be like, and that's not why we came here. We came here for the experience, for the journey. And so remember that everything's teaching you, even the things that you don't want to happen. Okay. So make your declaration. You can, choose abundance right now. Comment that I choose abundance below. I'd love for you to subscribe and ask me any questions. But if you're ready to shift your mindset and reprogram your reality, write that down there. Ask questions. Commit to daily. Begin each day embodying the feeling of abundance before you see the evidence. What could that look like? You might journal. You might meditate. You might do like an exercise on what you're creating and observe your results. Watch how it starts shifting. Expect all these amazing things to happen. And then everything that is evidence of that, acknowledge, okay? And the things that, don't, just be like, it's happening. It's still happening. Stay in that vibration. Don't be like, I expected it to be this way. Yes, I got some money. I found $20 on the ground. I hoped it was be $100 bill. Like, really, I'm guilty of those kind of things too. It's like, it's happening, but different than what we expect. So then we don't think it's happening, missing the boat. And when I have it's called the Blissfully Business Movement. And I have it's free right now. Someday it won't be, but I have some really cool things on how to discover your purpose. If you've ever gotten an Enneagram, what your Enneagram and how that applies to your business, how it can help you. I've got some really cool things over there, free trainings, and I would love for you to join. And if you have any questions on this or any topics, you're like, Gavin, I'd really like you to, go through that. I also just came out with a new book, which I'll be talking about soon, but it's called The Sacred Business Manifesto. And I'll be doing videos on this very soon, but this is on Amazon, and it was fun to write, loosely based on my life. And I hope you enjoy that. So give me a subscribe, a follow, and a like. I would love that. Share this with any friends, and I will see you again soon. Much love, my friend. Bye-bye.